All right, welcome in to the MPW Digital Postgame Show presented by Realtree. Your Ole Miss Rebels are 11-1. We can say that for the first time ever. Ole Miss knocking on Mississippi State 38-19 in this one. They have won the Egg Bowl in all but one of Lane Kiffin's seasons. They've won in the last 5 of 6 years. Won in Starkville, 5 out of 6, something like that as well. So many things to get to about this team, this program, and where they have come. Brian Rippey will join me in just a second. That's why you see the video box over there, but that's all good. We'll get to that here in a minute. So many things to get to. Again, really special day for Ole Miss, for the rise of this program, for where this program is. A lot of credit to go to so many different people. It's it's a remarkable thing. We talked about it a good bit during the watch party today. Also presented by Realtree. Appreciate everybody who participated in that. Tyler Siskey is supposed to join here pretty soon. He was at the game in Starkville, so as long as he can get out of there and get on the call, we'll have Siskey as well. But again, Ole Miss 38-19, really controlling this game. Ole Miss is in the college football playoff. There's no doubt about that. There's nothing that needs to be seen or talked about. Nothing else to do but wait, see if by chance you play next week in the SEC Championship game. We'll get into that, and then you will play again sometime, most likely December 19th, December 20th, as Ole Miss again in the college football playoff. We'll get to some of these Venmos, get to you guys here shortly as we get going. Also saw some super chats, so settling in a little bit here for the post-game show. I need to turn on Georgia and Georgia Tech. I'll do that in just a minute as well. There you go, Brian, back in the screen, back with you here. You saw him for the last few hours. You're doing the watch party. Before we get into any of that, let me tell you that we're all here because of Realtree, Realtree.com. Go to the website. Look, Christmas gifts, great time to take part in that. Wrap up a few gifts. You can get Realtree merchandise, including the helmets they had on today. That pattern's available all across a bunch of different merchants across the South and the country as well. But again, Realtree, including this hoodie that I have on. You can get it, Realtree.com there. Camo, lifestyle, hunting gear, and plenty more. Appreciate Tyler, Bill, their entire family. They're awesome. They do a ton for Ole Miss. Again, Realtree.com. Brian, while I'm getting some of these things done, getting the stream up and running in a couple admin different ways, kind of not really the game, but just where this program has come. You've been an Ole Miss fan your entire life as well. When I say 11-1 and where this is, what's kind of coming to mind for you?
Well, I guess the literal term would be unprecedented. It's never happened before, and it's cool to see. It's cool to see Ole Miss make the postseason tournament to be one of the few teams that has a chance to compete for national title. It's a lot of winning. It's an unprecedented level of winning. What is that today marked? What 50 wins in 5 years? I believe they're at
That is
49.
correct. Ole Miss has won 50. Ole Miss is averaging double-digit win seasons over the past 5 years. Again, when you say some of these things out loud, it's just sort of hard to fathom from where it has come in relatively short order.
Sure, and it took an odd marriage in a lot of ways. I mean, I was when we took the break, I saw Lane Kiffin's post game interview, and he talked about he's not still at a decision yet, has a lot of praying to do. We can get into that later, but it's interesting that it took that to Ole Miss to get to this point. They've in a lot of ways pushed each other. I know I was harsh on Kiffin and something I wrote earlier in the week, but this could not have happened without both parties, the university and the school stepping up to the plate, and Kiffin being a very good head coach. And it's certainly in the best short and long term interest of the program that he remains the head coach. And it's a good day for Ole Miss. It's not even that. It's just the fact that beyond that, the fan base buy-in was evident today. The amount of powder blue on the sideline. I mean, that was like a Tennessee-esque takeover of Davis Wade Stadium. I know Tennessee did that a few weeks ago. It's remarkable to watch unfold, and I guess unprecedented is what comes to mind initially to me. This is uncharted territory.
Yeah, I said this during the watch party. I've been covering this team for 20 years, gone through multiple coaching searches. And when you talk about what's a good season, even the Eli era, again, the modern era is what I'm aware of. I can't go back to the 60s and compare, and it's not the same sport. But even in the modern era, Eli did go 10-3, and I get that. he also went 7-4 and 6-6 in the regular season, 7-6 overall. Where it's come where we had so many different coaching searches to cover, and hey, you were begging for a guy to win 7.5 games, and could he just be in the other ones where you could go to the Grove and go to the stadium and just have a chance that day? And that's no longer the case. Now it's about national respect, national notoriety, wins, all these different things as it relates to a different Ole Miss, and it's a different Ole Miss top to bottom. You and I were discussing during the watch party the day Glenn Boyce was hired. That press conference that never happened was a pivotal mark because the administration and the Lyceum have been so huge for Ole Miss in this run. The support they give in the athletics department. Keith Carter's hire. He has vaulted up. He's made tough decisions. He's made difficult hires. He's worked with Boyce seamlessly. On down the road, the foundation, Matt McLaughlin, Denson Hollis, raising the money from a rev share and a collective standpoint. Walker Jones being a really good collective front man. William Liston getting it going back when that started. And then
And a
obviously
one that
Lane and
knew
his staff.
nothing about NIL, by the way, and not that much about college sports, was just interested and wanted to see his university succeed and was like, hell, I'll dive into it, by the way.
It's remarkable. The story is just absolutely remarkable in every way. Um, Joining us now, Tyler Siskey from the road. Hold on a minute. Let me get you guys in. Moving to that. Are you looks like you're out on the highway, ready to go there, bud? What are you doing?
What it is. This is a first. How about that? Got
Hey, it's working though.
it's working.
D-
We got a signal. We
Depending
should
on
go.
the internet situation.
I
I'm
think we're
not getting no
good.
no no.
Yeah.
And Mikey, real quick here, I'm not giving an obituary at all. I'm not. What I'm doing is not even talking about Lane. I'm talking about the Ole Miss program and where it's come. That's all I'm talking about. This has nothing to do with Lane. I'm not really even interested in talking about Lane at the moment. Um, Siski looked at me funny. I don't mean it in a bad way. I think that it's just not giving enough credence to so many different parts of what's happening here at this of Ole Miss making it to 11-1. I'll ask you, Tyler. I mean, you had belief because you've been with this program multiple times. But when I say Ole Miss finishes a regular season 11-1, what kind of comes to mind on what had to happen to get here and something that look, it is a different expectation than has been the majority of the modern era.
Yeah. I think they. Hang on. Waze wants to talk to me. I think they really did a really good job rostering a team off of what was last year. I don't think anybody would argue with you that last year's team was more talented, but they seem to find a better team. And obviously, talking football, I think the addition of Trinidad Chambliss is going to really define this team overall because he helped out an offensive line that was decimated a little bit with the way he plays, and they were able to be a better team and find ways to win. It's not perfect, but they find ways to win. It wasn't perfect today, but they find ways to win.
So take me through it. We've obviously been talking about it from a TV standpoint for a while now. Being there today, atmosphere, game, just in general, what sort of the takes from being at Davis Wade Stadium?
Yeah, I thought offensively, it was both defenses kind of played opposite of each other. It was very evident early on that Mississippi State was not going to allow Ole Miss to run the football. They had a guy extra committed to the box. They basically played, it was match coverage, but they basically played essentially cover zero the entire game. There were a couple times where they jumped out and played some zone, but very few. I'd probably say 90% of the time they were in man, and I was kind of little, and Chambliss missed a bunch of throws that could have opened this game up early. They played literally man coverage on the outsides 95% of the time, press man. He had shots downfield, he missed guys, and it was, getting a little frustrated, you could tell, for the offense trying to make some plays. But they were just adding guys to the box. I thought that when they had success running the football, it was +1 runs, pin and pull stuff on the outside. They just had, Mississippi State was just committing 8 to 9 guys to the box every time. Defensively, it was just the opposite. Ole Miss was not going to allow them to big play them. So it was kind of like, they lost some battles but won the war. They weren't going to fit the run very well out of the back end for the way they were playing it, and they didn't. Weak side quarterback run was going to hurt them. It did. I was kind of a little bit surprised Mississippi State didn't get back into 12 personnel and run to the boundary a little bit more than they did. They had some success early. The first touchdown that Camario Taylor had was off that. But at the end of the day, they started hitting some plays. I know the touchdown in the one end zone. I guess that would be as you're watching to your left, top left, on TV. That was the same kind of deal. I think all their pass plays came off throwing at the outside, touchdowns thrown off the outside versus that man coverage, and they hit some. But they could have. I was a little bit stunned, to be honest with you, that they didn't. That Mississippi State was just being stubborn about it. They were just like, if you're going to beat us, this is how you're going to beat us, and eventually it happened.
I mean, I thought State did about all they could for the most part, though. I mean, they tackled fairly well relative to their talent level. I mean, they didn't play bad defensively to give up 38 points, I didn't think. I mean, Ole Miss missed those shots early, as you said. Chambliss missing, I guess, 2 out of 3 passes there at one point to extend to 21 points when they had 14. But for the most part, I mean, I sort of thought State played to their sort of baseline of what you would have anticipated. Does that make sense? Like, I mean, Camario Taylor does give them an element defensively. They did swarm. I mean, they kept things from being just crazy. I mean, I thought State was okay today.
Yeah, there were a couple times Chambliss left the pocket a couple times. I don't know if you could see it on TV, but he left the pocket a couple times and had guys uncovered and missed them. Not having his eyes downfield. I'm talking about like uncovered for a touchdown. That third down, they ran basically a 3-man pick and had two would have. It was a high. Basically, it looked like it's probably a slant on TV. And I think it was 3rd and 6. I think they kicked a field goal after that. He would have walked out of the back of the end zone. There was nobody left home, and he missed some throws. He did not play. He did not have his A game. And I thought the offensive line did a really good job protecting overall today. Got the one that was the incomplete pass that they thought was a fumble that the right tackle just gave up a speed rush. But I thought they protected really well for the most part.
What was the crowd split?
It was hard where I was sitting. A lot of Ole Miss fans, I couldn't see. I was up there with the peasants, and so I couldn't see. I was on the Ole Miss side, so I couldn't see really below. But it was, I don't know, 70-30 maybe. If I had just to guess, I couldn't see any of the lower level behind the Ole Miss bench, but I just knew there was a bunch of people there. But if you make a guess, 70-30.
Which is about kind of what I would have had in my mind. Yeah, everybody in the stream's talking about this. I'm not trying to ignore it. I haven't seen it. Trey Wallace, though, has tweeted, it looks like they're about to walk into the visiting press area for interviews. Lane walks back out to Ben Garrett, and according to Trey and Barrett Sallee, Lane says, "Do you want to walk in here and call me a hoe? We'll see how it goes," referring to Ben earlier in the week when he referred to Lane saying you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. Hoes don't act right. So that is again, we're on the show. I'm having an inability to follow everything at once, but that is apparently what I am seeing as time is going on right here.
I'm looking at a video of it. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, this is why you cannot take what people say on the internet and like mold it into like takes that you throw on your show.
Okay, Brandon says it's not just according to. That was 100% right because we have audio. Again, I can't listen to the audio right now. So,
it happened.
Okay.
I mean, we're talking mono y mono, like almost like nipples to nipples.
Okay, I think I'm saying this in a way, Tyler, that you'll answer. Because I understand you've had your own situation here. Are you, whether it's Lane or a coach in general, are you surprised that he would publicly do that right there?
I don't know. I've missed both sides of this story. This is the first I'm hearing of it, so I don't really have a reaction. I don't know. I'd have to I have to see what happened. I don't know. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I'm
we'll show it
seriously.
to
I don't
you.
even know about the. I don't even know what the Ben part. I don't know that part.
Well, that part's right. Earlier in the week, Ben used that example and quoted the lyrics from, I think that's Project Pat, if I have it right. Maybe not. Maybe it's Ludacris. I don't know. Somebody. I'm not that's not my genre. Really, nothing is. But yeah, he referred to Kiffin with those lyrics. I guess it's surprising to me that Kiffin has dropped his guard down to reference and admit that he sees things like that.
Yeah,
I guess that's my interesting thing.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
bloggers and
That
whatnot.
was. I mean, let's make it weird. You know what I mean? Let's go. Let's make it weird.
We'll talk to Neil a little bit when he jumps on. Lane's quote after the game, when asked by Taylor McGregor what he was going to do, or if he had made a decision, he said no, that today is about the team, that he had a lot of praying to do, and that decision was for tomorrow. So he did at least reference that there is a public decision tomorrow, which there is that as we move forward. So anyway,
I would expect that.
okay. You think you
Are
know
you
something?
driving or riding, Siski, by the way?
He's driving.
Driving, dog.
Damn.
Multitasking.
Hell
I
yeah,
got my
that's impressive.
three-time world champ, my fellow tag team partner, my three-time world champ on the camera.
Oh, it's not even like on one of those little things. That's real right there. Now I'm
That
impressed.
is real. Wow.
I got Mama on the camera and the boys in the back.
Wow,
How about that? Yeah, let's go.
you've had a busy week too. You've been in Nashville, now Starkville.
I know, world traveler, getting some family time in. You know what I mean?
The day Austin Simmons' ankle got banged up, what would you have guessed Ole Miss's record was at that moment against Kentucky?
Mm,
8-4.
8. Yeah, I'd probably said 8-4. That's fair. Um, you know, the key part of the drill, not knowing. You know, I think early in the season, I think everybody thought South Carolina would have a little bit more, thought Florida would have a little bit more, um, but and then Oklahoma for sure. Those are probably the three that I would have said 8-4. You know what I mean?
I was kind of going on a little bit of a soliloquy before you got on here. This was about just where Ole Miss has come, and 50 wins now over the last 5 years. This question's not overly answerable, but you're as qualified as anybody to answer it. When a program takes a jump like this, like how do you sort of divvy up credit between collective, coach, assistants, administration, staff? Like, I mean, what all has to go right for that level of increase?
Well, I think you got to look and see what the success part is, right? And I think with this team, I think every team's different, particularly now with your so much turnover. And so putting together the roster, I think everybody that's involved in that, I think it's really literally, with no pun intended, it is a collective effort, from all the way to the top, from Glenn Boyce and Keith Carter giving all the resources that you can possibly need, um, to be successful, to, you know, Walker Jones and the collective, to getting the funds to where they need to be to go get the players that they need to get, to Billy Glasscock, you know, in the front office, getting the right people in there to make a team. Because, you know, a lot of times you can go get it. It's why all-star teams don't work, right? You got to once you get them, then it goes to the coaches and the strength staff, a little bit everybody, to getting the culture right, because, you know, you got to. There's a reason all-star teams don't always work, right? And so being able to get a culture developed in a short period of time is something, and I think it's just in this world we're in now. And it's just kind of part of it, right? I think kind of a little bit of everybody, but I don't think any of it could happen without, you know, Glenn Boyce and Keith Carter and Walker Jones. I've said that many times on the show. I think the not unlimited, but basically whatever it takes to win mentality, resource wise, is something that can't be ignored. And they don't get enough credit. So that's why I always, every chance I get, make sure I mention them, because per sources, it doesn't happen everywhere.
Well, that was my next question. So you just answered that. And if we lose, you would serve as on your come back from start, but we'll catch you on and as you get closer. How common is it though? Because we say it doesn't happen anywhere, but I mean, how many coaching staffs are hindered by that lack of assistance from a higher level?
Most of them,
Oh,
I would to some degree, right? And it depends on what the resources are, whether it be funds to keep your assistant coaches, whether it be funds to get players, whether it be especially with now with the coaching limit, being able to fund the off the field staff, quote unquote now the off the field staff. It happens a lot of places. I mean, not everywhere, but the teams that win fund, and that's just there's not many teams that are going to be in this 12 team playoff, in the Power 5 level that don't fund. I think you see even in Indiana with Signetti being there, they've been able to up their game, right? They do such a good job evaluating players, and but just because, and that's why I say it's kind of a collection effort. Just because you fund doesn't guarantee it, because you still got to take, if you got all the money to go get all these players, you still got to make them a team. And I think that's what this group has done well, because there's so many holes when you watch it, but they find a way to win, and they keep the pressure on, do what it takes to win. And I don't care how good you are or how bad you are. Going 11-1 in the SEC is a tough gig.
100% in the playoffs. Do you think no matter what Lane does, they will have a game in Oxford come December 19th, 20th?
Yeah, Chase. I think there's been a lot of, if there was a lot of truth serum out there, I think there's a lot of narratives being pushed the last couple of weeks that I just don't buy into. And that
I'm
being
with you.
one of them.
Well, especially when McMurphy started doing the odds maker stuff. I mean, come on. What are we doing?
That was gross.
What are we doing?
Yeah. I mean, you got an 11-1 team. Like, who are you jumping in front of them? Are you gonna jump a 10-2 Oklahoma that they beat at Oklahoma? I mean, come on. I'm not. You can't piss down my back and tell me it's raining.
What's the ceiling? What's the ceiling for Kamario Taylor?
I think he's gonna be really good, man. He's a pup. I think once he sees a little bit better, I think that today he was wanting to let a couple rip today, but I thought, like I said, Ole Miss was just going to make them run the football. They were not going to beat them up top today. And when they did try to take a couple shots and got some matchups and things that, Ole Miss got home on them, some pressure. But I think he's going to be a really good player. I mean, ceiling is, as a freshman, I mean, he's got all the ability in the world.
You referenced it early on. Go ahead. You got something, Rippy? Sorry, I thought you were talking.
Oh, no, I don't have anything. I was just, Siski mentioned the funding earlier. Like, it's, to your point, it's beyond the funding. You still have to have the organization to distribute the money correctly and spend it correctly on your roster, right? It's not just funding.
Rippy, it's kind of funny you say that. It's all of a sudden, I've been screaming from the rafters for months, and everybody thought I was crazy. But the number one factor in all these jobs that are open is everybody's got this money, but they don't know how to distribute.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's like I guess I've been just making shit up for 8 months. I've been trying to tell people, and everybody's like, "Oh no, you just raise all the NIL money. Just keep raising all the NIL money." I said it on our show the other day. I know for a fact there is a team that is literally, their balance sheet is huge. They got all this money, but they can't get it to the players. Third-party NIL is critical. Having a plan and ability to do that is critical moving forward. But I guess people just wanted to ignore what I was saying for the last 10 months.
Well, I mean, to use a soccer example that me and Walden like to talk about, like the Saudis own Newcastle United. They have yet to win the Premier League. It's how the money gets distributed and how to build a roster based off of it. It's not just fundraising. That seems obvious.
It's the legal part of it. And everybody was like, "Oh no, the courts will they'll sue that. It'll get signing day's Wednesday, and like I said, I don't know how long it's going to be here. Don't know. Portal's in January. Don't know how long it's going to be here, but that's where we're at today. And it's the same thing. And I'll explain this, and this seems to help some people understand it. Is your rev share is your cap, okay? Just like think about the NFL, your rev share is your cap, okay? Patrick Mahomes got a $450 million contract, okay? Well, the owner of the Chiefs owns Hunt's Ketchup. When was the last time you saw Patrick Mahomes in a Hunt's Ketchup commercial? It would only make sense for the owner who's paying it anyway to pay Patrick Mahomes $1 million to play quarterback and give him $44 million but you can't do it. That's what third-party NIL is. There's a reason that it is. Collectives are basically the owners. You can't just do that. You got to find and have a plan for that third-party NIL to get money to the players, and it's increasingly difficult to get it through to where enough money through to where it actually makes a difference.
You're exactly right, Siski. And what has bothered me about that, like I've mentioned this over the last several weeks, is like this sport, the people who cover it and follow it are like perpetually 2 years behind. The years to brag about how much money you raise as a collective was 2 years ago when there were no guardrails and rev share wasn't allowed because you could just use this blind slush fund to pay these kids without having to do anything. Now that you have official university money to give them via rev share in this clearinghouse committee, bragging about how much money you've raised through NIL doesn't actually do any good because you actually have to find a purpose for it. It's like they put restriction on money laundering or some shit. But like this in these offers to Kiffin, like, well, they've committed to X amount of NIL for the roster. Like, cool. What does that actually mean? How are you going to slip that through the first level of regulation that we've ever had in this? The years to brag about fundraising in the slush fund was 2 years ago, but people didn't catch up, in my opinion.
Well, it's like, the Tom Mars tweet. I mean, nobody wanted to pay attention to it, but he's right. It's like it's not about guarantee. You can't really, there's no way to guarantee that you're going to like have this X amount of dollars for your roster. That's like saying, hey, I guarantee you that on September 3rd, 2027, it's not going to rain. I guarantee you that. I mean, it's just not possible. But you can have a plan and how to attack it and have a plan to, ways to talk to and you can have a plan on how to distribute it and work that through third-party NIL. That's problem one. The other thing that nobody wants to talk about is these kids don't want to work for it. They don't want to work for it. And so plan one is to have a way to do it. Plan two is you gotta distribute and example. If I got a bunch of players and I got a guy that's adamant about just wants money, well, I may give third party NIL that I do have to someone on my roster that will actually go do the work, that I can count on doing the work so they can get their money. If you're it's a tricky thing that you got to manage your roster with, if that makes sense. But there's a reason that it's out there, and it's a problem. And that's really the key part of all of these quote unquote coaching searches right now is getting to expose what plan is that coach doesn't come. And so it's an interesting dynamic going right now in these coaching searches.
Yeah, and I guess over time, and maybe I don't know this answer, whenever something becomes effective, isn't it just a copycat deal? Like, isn't everybody going to be just like a month or a week behind or something once things start working? I mean, word is going to travel fast. So, like, I guess, isn't there a pretty light lag between the places that do it really creatively or well and the ones that don't? I mean, like, how do you actually have
Well, no,
separation
there's
in this market once it happens?
well, because it's about real NIL, okay? And you got to have local companies or local people that are willing to help. You know what I mean? You got to have people on the true marketing side that are willing to help, and then you got to worry about your market value after that. So every place is going to be different. There are a bunch of like pop-up companies that are trying to wash money through. Every time pops up, CSC just drops. That's why this whole, the Texas Tech thing that's going on now, where they're Yeah, they're 100%. Their counsel's trying to tell them not to sign it. I wouldn't either, because they have an advantage doing it the other way. The last loophole that's going to get shut, and it's just a matter of time when they put it into it. Sorry, all schools notified it's happening is collectives pay high school recruits. Once that gets shut down, then it'll be you'll have to. I agree. But it's in place now. And so if you
Yeah,
got a coach in a coaching search, he doesn't care what law is going to go into effect in April. He wants to know what he's got on January the 2nd so he can go get players for next year's team.
yeah. Jeffrey, did you have a nice little Thanksgiving? Get some turkey and some dessert and pie and the whole deal.
Yeah, today there was at my in-laws. So today was a fish fry. But my in-laws have moved from Batesville to their cabin at Pickwick, and so like that's added an extra hour each way. So that was a lot of car time today.
Were you able to watch Ole Miss's win? I guess just some general thoughts, either on the game or just where this thing has come as a program. I mean, I've said several
Oh,
times here.
I had a I
I'm
had a
so used to
paycheck on the
different
game.
searches. There you go. I'm so used to the searches and coaches and stuff and whatever. We went, hey, if this guy can just win 7 and have Ole Miss in everything, and now looking up and it's 50 wins over 5 years, which is kind of what comes to mind for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of things at play. I think the other thing is like kind of how casual 11-1 felt, and to your point that you've been making for a while now, it's like there's a lot of people that deserve credit, from administration to Lane to players. Obviously, I mean, you know, let's not leave them out of this because I do think one of the things that kind of stood out to me this week is it does feel like a lot of the Lane Kiffin hype is embedded in kind of the old school thinking that this is for lack of a better word, a dog shit job. And they had 8 NFL guys last year. Like I counted it up on the show since the 21 draft. I think they've had 23 or 24 draft picks. So let's not act like that this place has devolved of talent. So, and everything from being ahead on the collectives to knowing how to organize this thing. Like there's just a lot of people that really deserve a lot of credit. And to me, like this is the culmination of all of that work. Was really to me, it's just kind of how casually Ole Miss just went 11-1.
In a game today that really was never even for a second felt in doubt at all, in my opinion.
Though I did think, to Tyler's point, I did kind of think Ole Miss was missing a lot of like shot plays that could have put the game away quickly, but in general, it felt really easy for Ole Miss to score, and it felt really difficult for State to score. So typically, when the game goes like that, one team's got a pretty significant advantage.
Siski, are you always the driver no matter
I
what?
kept waiting on the slot fake. 100,000%, dude. I mean, you know who drives in my house? If I didn't drive in my house, my insurance premiums would be like 10 grand a month.
Even while podcasting and driving, is
She
there a
said it's
log in
expensive.
set?
Have you ever seen somebody get hit while they're driving doing a show? I might get smacked over here for that comment.
Yeah, I have not, and I hope not.
She didn't like that comment. I got a passenger princess over here
Let's
rolling through
see.
the wonderful town of Euphoria, Mississippi. How about that?
Is it not
Euphoria.
Eupora?
Yeah.
Right?
What I
Who
say,
was the
Euphoria?
Home
who
of one
was
Colin
Davis.
Brister.
who was the running back that wanted to rock his deuce?
No, he was from Oklahoma. That was Robert Elliott.
Robert Elliott. Sorry, but there was another
No,
back from Eupora, wasn't there?
I don't know. The Reporo, they had a quarterback that might have signed with Ole Miss back in the day. Was it Cliff Davis, I believe?
Cliff
For
Davis. Cliff Davis was going to sign with the Arkansas State Red Wolves when I was there. We were actually the Indians at the time, and then he got drafted. He signed
That's
with us,
right.
got drafted, then he came back and went to Southern Miss.
There you go.
He's
See,
going
it
to
all
grow.
it all comes back to Arkansas State.
That's it. Yep. The metropolis of Eupora, Mississippi.
Mark, thank
Wait, so
you
he got
for
drafted in
the
baseball?
yeah, he was a two-way
Yeah.
guy. I mean, two-sport guy. Yeah, yeah.
Who was the kid? Who was the quarterback that Blue Jays offered?
Anthony Alford from
Yeah,
Anthony
Petal
Alford.
or Pearl. Petal.
yeah.
Petal. Mark, thanks for the Venmo. Says the Venmo chat says, should they make the buying team pay the school for a player? Example: Camario Taylor is for sale. Whoever gets him has to pay state. Well, I guess that would be a switch. Have a
So
fee.
basically, they want. It is amazing how many SEC football fans just want soccer rules.
Well, that was
That's
my all
that's
kidding aside
that's a transfer
is
fee.
one of my ideas in a group that I was talking to was one is if you transfer, you have to sit out a year, unless you graduate. Okay. And they were like, well, we don't want to do that. So if you transfer, there would be like restricted free agents and unrestricted free agents. And if you graduated, you're a free agent. But if you haven't graduated, then whatever you're under contract for the next year has to be paid to that school, and it comes off your cap. It would slow everything down and bring the prices back down.
I don't think the problem is a lack of ideas. I think the problem is a lack of enforceable ideas. Because everything that you just
Well, you got to
described, like
part of that.
that makes
Part
sense,
of that
but
was
like,
part of
is there a court that's gonna hold that up?
well, part of that was with a breakup group, a breakaway group. So you'd have a whole new thing.
I mean, if
It
that's
wouldn't be the
bargain, like
NCAA.
collectively bargained, like I think those are all great ideas. It's just it
Yeah,
feels
it
like we
wouldn't be
are a
part of
long way
collective
away from
bargaining.
that.
Well, you have to get the
Where
enforcement
this
body
is,
in. Who's regulating any of this?
it was a breakaway group, a group that had $15 billion that's trying to break away from the NCAA
The
and
what
work
is
with
it,
the Big 12.
the which one of the private equity firms?
A big one
Yeah,
That
out of
wasn't
LA.
Red
It's
whatever,
not the
was it?
it's
Red
not
Bird or Red whatever.
no, it's not the one dealing with the Big Ten.
Oh, and then
oh,
by the way, we're
Redbird's got some. I believe Look it up. I think Redbird's got some Qatari money in there. That's
okay.
always good.
While we're naming obscure Ole Miss players that might have been from Eupora, no, Chief Brown was from Winona. He was not from Eupora. He was from Winona. So that is.
Chief, how
Chief
about that?
Chief, part of that
It's
squad
in
that
the
ran
bag
the
right
square
there.
for a bit.
I feel like Chief
was
had
it?
a big interception in the win over LSU in 13 when
I
half the
think he
damn
might have
team
had
was
multiple.
okay.
Because remember that was that game where, for whatever reason, Mettenberger came in and was just like, "I'm just gonna throw it to the rebels."
That's right. Well, I mean, they did have. I mean, had some receivers.
Wasn't
They were pretty
Chief?
loaded.
I think Chief was also Bo's like best friend. I feel like
That
anytime I saw Bo or Chief, they were always together.
that is correct. Yes, yeah. That is 100% true. Is the MVP of this team Trinidad Chambliss or Keywan Lacey?
5 for me. I vote 5.
Okay.
Lacey, think about where they're at if he gets hurt in game like 5.
Well, to Tyler's point about how all State did was just blitz and play man zero. Did anybody just like whenever they would just use the spider cam? Keywan Lacey might be one of the best blocking tailbacks I've ever seen at this level. The guy just
I,
picks up blitzes left and
He's
right.
good.
I think his PFF number says his, and I get it's
Yeah,
PFF, and
I'd
I
like
hate
to.
their grades, but I do like their actual stats because they log it. I want to say his pass blocking efficiency is like 98.7 or something.
I
Very
would
high.
buy it.
Siski, apparently, we got like sincere apologies from the Florida message boards because they finally admitted we knew more about their search than they did, like in writing.
I need to see those.
Yeah,
Imagine
apparently
that.
so. Just saying.
Well, weren't they as of last night still pretty
Why did they
confident?
Why did they do that? What realization?
Once Lane was
What realization did they come to?
I was about to say confident,
um
like based on what, Jeffrey? Because that's what seems to be the whole thing. Like they just kept using
I
like
don't
cliches, like real men move in silence. Okay, sick. What does that mean?
I don't know. I told you all my theory that now that we've lost FSU Twitter, that's just all migrated to Florida. Like it's the online people that are the worst of Florida. Like every actual Gator, when they were in town last week, like they were actually all pretty pleasant. It's the online crew that's horrible.
And a decent part of their actual media beat is okay. It's
What
the fringe online people that are the biggest imbeciles to ever foul this earth. None of them know anything that's going on, and they kept just saying shit randomly without like any
Yeah, how
sort of
is that any
thought.
different than FSU Twitter? Like that's FSU Twitter, like rest in peace. Like we've just lost it. Like it's migrated to Florida.
I think Florida people might just have more podcasts. Those fringe people might actually get in front of a microphone more than just FSU Twitter is the theory I've come away from. Because the amount of people I encountered that were just like, I have the Gator 69 podcast. I'm like, okay, cool. I bet that gets tens of listens. I think they just most of them talk in front of a microphone more often, is my theory.
Yeah, I mean I could buy that. I mean like
what
it was
realization did they
you mean well I mean it was just the
What
Lane part of
realization
him
did they
being
come to that
out
they
and
got
they
to vote?
were it's because the Lane thing, it's because they were lied to and that
it seems like once Thamel
yeah.
came out and said they're moving on, that was like when they had to accept like, okay, maybe real men don't move in silence or whatever Brippy said they said.
He did that. He did that. He did that today because I haven't had
Yeah,
Twitter.
they came out with multiple reports today that Florida has completely moved on in their search. Yes.
They also blamed Kiffin's erratic behavior as to why they were choosing to move on, which is really
Oh, of
interesting.
course.
I enjoyed that piece of it
I like
particularly.
this is when you get into some really outstanding spin zones.
Oh,
Jeffrey,
it's
did you
remarkable.
while I'm catching up on a few chats here, did you catch the altercation or the interaction? Sorry, between Ben and Lane going into the deal.
Okay. Okay, so I watched the whole oh, was there a Ben and Lane post game?
Yeah, I'll get there in a second. Yeah. Alan, thank
Oh,
you so much for the Venmo comment. Although he says best damn broadcast on the internet, I haven't seen where you have a question. If you have one, please put Venmo in all caps, and I will take care of you. We'll do that. Marine Rebel, thank you. Belt to butt. YouTube won't let me cuss. Yeah, they don't like that. Not as much as not as much as TikTok doesn't like the stuff. But yeah, still appreciate that. Austin, thank you as always. Great to see you. About to cry. I've been going to games since I was 4 years old. Now they got a real shot. Love you guys. Neil, Chase, Tyler, Bruff, Brian, chat. Sammy, Boo, Layla, congratulations everyone. Get the handcuffs ready. Okay. Clutch Cam, thank you. Siski driving, wife holding the phone, family buy-in right there. Clutch Cam says as we're going through the super chats. Yeah, so last week or this earlier this week on his podcast, Jeffrey, you'll be able to identify artists to lyric. He called Lane, referring to Lane, says you can't turn a hoe into a housewife because they don't act right, and Lane came up after to him after the game. Your videos went out. Can you still hear me? Okay, there you
yeah, I
go.
can hear you. Sorry.
Okay, no, you're good. And I want to get this exactly right. So hold on. There is audio, but I have not been able to hear it because I've been on the have not been on the call. He says, "You want to walk in here and call me a hoe? We'll see how it goes." And then walked
Okay,
off.
so is this in the media room like
No,
the
this is walking from the field to that media area at Mississippi State, like just outside the
okay.
end zone, going back toward the building.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Well, I mean, if you're Ben, you kind of invited this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, if you're Ben, also this is like, I mean, Lane is punching down, so you can use this as content. Like I don't, I actually think the winner in this is Ben.
Because yeah, but it requires Lane to acknowledge him as whatever you want to say. Yeah,
Correct.
I mean, again, whether it should have done it or not done it, yeah, 100% Lane legitimized it to some degree today.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, if Lane's gonna be like the first, honestly, like, to me, it's like it's more than just like a reality show. It's been like a Barstool-esque reality show in that everything is content. And everything, like, whether it be like your kids are content, your wife or your ex-wife's content, your Thanksgiving, like everything is content. Like, if you're going to do that, like, you invite Ben to be a part of the content.
So I'm reading here again because we had no audio today. Brian and I doing the watch party. It says after Marty Smith reports Ole Miss will match any offer for Kiffin, ESPN announcer Dave Pasch takes aim at Ole Miss AD Keith Carter for forcing Kiffin into a decision. What is the alternative? You can't give him a freaking month to make a call here.
I don't
Like,
think that's. I disagree with that. I didn't think Dave did. I thought Dusty did.
okay, well, either way, I mean, whatever. Yeah. I mean,
Well, I mean,
you have to
honestly, like,
follow up in your own
Tyler,
interest. It's the problem right now because of
who's
football.
Dusty's agent? This is my whole thing on all of this.
No,
Is
no
the
idea.
first question I have with all these people is who's their agent?
Well, and is there anyone smart enough in that booth to follow up and say, okay, you let him recruit your roster to another school for 4 weeks? Explain that to me, please. That would make for awkward TV.
The LSU coach
It's
cannot coach Ole Miss in a playoff. Like, I don't understand how difficult. Sorry, go ahead.
I understand, like Lane won't coach. I mean, hell, I would want to coach. You know what I mean? Like, every coach would want to coach. It's just, you know, but the people who say that don't put themselves in Keith Carter's shoes. So, you know, it's at the end of the day, who's the boss? Who has the right to force that? It's the school. So it doesn't matter what your opinion is. It's the school's opinion. You know what I mean? Like, but like, it's a argument because, I mean, everybody would coach. I would want to coach, but like, I also understand the school side. You know what I mean? And like, you can't, and they're the boss, and they can't let it. I understand why they can't let it happen.
Yeah. The quote here from the announcer,
So the other
clearly
thing
it
that
is
comes
a
to mind on this,
decision, real quick. So clearly it is a decision that is more by the administration than it is by Lane Kiffin in terms of the timing before tonight or tomorrow morning. You wonder if that pushes Lane in a different place. I mean, look, if Lane is not changing his decision off that, because he's not waiting a month anyway, like, it just isn't. Like, unless you think he's staying because he can't coach, then maybe. But because Keith puts a timeline on him, he's not suddenly going to go pick LSU tomorrow. It doesn't work that direction. It just doesn't.
It also sounds like Lane also understands that why Ole Miss wants that timeline. I know he's been kind of an irrational actor throughout all this, but it does seem like he does understand why Ole Miss needs that timeline.
I wouldn't go as far as to say he understands. I think that he is aware that it is. I think for a while, he kind of thought he could have his cake and eat it too. I think now he has come to the realization that that is not the case. I don't know if I necessarily would say he understands. I think it's more like he accepts.
I just mean he knows they need it. I didn't expect him to like it, I guess would be the better way to put it.
Yeah, I guess this is the other thing is maybe it's not necessarily is this media person rep by CAA. I do think there are ESPN talking orders that they do not want an Ole Miss playoff game without Lane Kiffin on the sideline. I just don't think they want that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that they view they own the playoff inventory. Like, I think they want him on the sideline. I mean, how much of the ESPN broadcast today was focused on Lane Kiffin? 98% or 99% of it?
Well, when the bar was what happened in 22, and it was way better than that. Although, for the most part, from what I've seen, it felt Ole Miss positive.
I think that was a matter of, that would be confirmmation bias.
Okay.
Because they laid out, it was a lot of, well, Keith Carter expects or whatever. Keith Carter believes that, I think that was the phrase they used. Keith Carter believes that Lane will be back, but here's his 3-point plan of what he would do if he does leave. It's kind of a lot of that. Like,
It's fair.
Trey
I mean,
Wallace
they're
has
not
a
gonna.
video of Kiffin's press conference that says he's going to call Nick Saban and Pete Carroll tonight on advice as to what to do. Siski, I just assume he admitted your name, but he's going to call you too.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it sounds like
busy.
he's calling Ben
I'm on
Garrett.
podcast.
He might.
Where are you at, Siski? What are you going past right now? Where are you at?
I'm about to arrive in the wonderful metropolis of Slate Springs, Mississippi.
Oh,
I did get to drive through my family's stomping ground of Walnut today.
that's a win. That's what you get at
I'm
Thanksgiving.
really
Obscure
impressed.
places.
I'm just really impressed that there's still a cell signal out here, to be honest with you.
I gotta be honest with you. One of the more impressive aspects of today was I think there was only about like a 2-minute window in the third quarter where I couldn't watch the game. That was truly shocking.
Andre, thank you. It says thanks for going subscriber only. No slander. What's up, guys? Appreciate you, Andre, as always. Got a question? Let me go. You've been here with us all day. Galen, thank you. Content's been great this year. Appreciate all you guys do. Makes my hard days go by fast. Happy holidays. Yeah, we are officially time to put the Christmas trees up tomorrow, even though today even. Mine's already up. But, you people who are normal, you can now move to the Christmas season. Siski, how many trees are up in your house so far? He's frozen in Slate Springs, Mississippi. That was it.
That's
We
what he
got
gets
in
for talking
Slate
about a cell
Springs or
service
wherever, and
signal.
that was the end of it.
We probably should have seen that one coming.
Once you name a town where you have to go, oh, there you go. He's just on delay. He says 2.
Yeah, he's back.
Okay. Yeah, he's there.
Well, that peace sign he's frozen on, I'm thinking new profile picture.
I think so too. Yeah, I'm just I'm gonna repeat this. I'm not gonna put Siski in a weird situation. My opinion on the Summerall thing, wait until Sunday, is to get his game over with tomorrow. He was never gonna do anything before that game on Sunday. So any report talking about a decision to me is not really about this school or that school. In my opinion, I think a lot of that has to do with simply trying to coach a game, lock up an American Athletic Conference championship game, host game. I think that's what that's about. So it doesn't mean one thing or the other, in my opinion. Outside of he and Florida were pretty good way down the road, but no, I think that timing has a lot to do with his team at that juncture. Jeffrey, do we know who they? You're my American expert. Who does Tulane potentially play next week?
So likely North Texas is up 28-7, and basically if North Texas wins, it's going to be Tulane hosting North Texas.
Okay.
Jeffrey, what was up with so Navy beat Memphis last night? I've not kept up with the G5. I know up until that Tulane game, Memphis had a shot at like the G5 bid. What's the approval rating on Silverfield, I guess, is my real question.
It's like a fart in church. Like,
it's not good.
It's kind of like the worst. It's like the worst spot to be in as a school because you're literally like staying together for the kids. Like, he's not bad enough to fire. He's like, there's no way you can like realistically justify spending the $6.5–7 million to fire him, but he is objectively not going to like win enough games that matter.
Fair.
Is it enough at Memphis though?
No, because like they are really spending right now. Like, there is an argument it is the best G6 job out there for how much they spend on the roster. Like, they're trying to level up because they are realistic that football's what if it is possible to still move up in this world, and maybe it's not. Maybe we'll find out that the reason why SMU spent whatever it was, like $1 billion to try and overall to try and get to the ACC was that was your last chance to move up. But if there is such a world that you could move up, Memphis understands football's the path. And so Ryan does like a good job of not letting the job crater, but he's going to lose a UAB game. He's going to lose a UTSA game, but he's also probably going to have a game in there where he beats a P4 school, and you'll talk yourself into mid-October that they can win the league this year.
Couple questions here from this thing. Says Chase, so if Lane announces leaving tomorrow, is it too late for Summerall and Ole Miss? I don't know right now. Florida was definitely putting some form of a deadline on him. They were a long way down the road. As we reported on Friday morning, John definitely doesn't want to get caught without a job at this juncture. I mean, turning down an SEC gig to hope for the possibility of another one. And Lane Kiffin has not told Ole Miss an answer, yes or no. So if you're John, you got to make sure that there's a bird in the hand at the end of this. So the answer is I don't know. There is a needle that you can thread. There's no doubt about that. There's a needle you can thread to potentially make it work, but no, it's not an advantageous situation for Ole Miss right now. They need an answer as soon as possible if that is where things are sitting. There's just no doubt about that.
What do we make of the Lane Kiffin of your report? Because, man, you can really view that as like not helpful to Ole Miss.
It's the frustration of I don't buy. I just don't buy at this point, even after the emotions of the game, that you don't know. Like, obviously, you're not actually sitting down and going, okay, I haven't known for all these different periods of time, but now here's whatever. It doesn't work like that. So that's the frustration in a lot of ways of like, sure, could he have gotten in that locker room and decided, nope, I just can't do it? Then
I guess
maybe.
this
But
is my
beyond that, going in, you weren't going, oh God, I just don't know. Like that's what's frustrating for all involved.
So
it's like he wants to debate it as long as he can. I mean, Jeffrey, I've hit on this earlier. I keep going back to what is the point of this sport? He's going to leave. I'm going to have to believe that guy's going to look a bunch of people in the face and say, I'm quitting a playoff team, one of 12 teams that have a chance to win the national title, to go somewhere else. Like, I'm just going to have to believe that when I see it. How do you sell that at your next gig? Yes, you idiots just may be the highest paid coach in college football in all likelihood. I've never actually coached a playoff game. I made it once, but I quit before I got there. How do you sell that?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess the problem that I'm with Chase. Like this idea that like, oh, all of a sudden now he's gonna have an epiphany. Like now that he's really thought about it, he's preyed upon it, which Lane Kiffin religious revival is disgusting to me, by the way.
But it's just cool he quit a playoff team. That's well accepted.
No, I mean, I can't remember if I told Chase this the other night when we were at Kelly's, but this is normally like I kind of, as like entertainment, I kind of enjoy the coaching carousel. There's been something about this story, and it's not even the Ole Miss of it all. Like I don't really care. Like yes, it would be nice for my family and for my wife, but like I don't actually get wrapped up in this. This has been gross to me. This whole thing, like leaving and quitting on a team so that you can get a better job. It's like, all right. And then like, I don't know, just everything about it has just been like giving me the ick, as the kids say.
What is the point of the sport in the playoff? If you make the playoff and you're like, nah, I'm good. It's not that important. I'm going to take another job. Like, what are we actually doing here?
I mean, I guess the point of the sport is to get the best possible job you can have. Like, I guess, right? That would be the answer.
Same amount of money, just more resources that continue to be less and less tangible. Like that part doesn't make any sense to me either. Like, why not?
I mean, I guess the question is he like the gambler that only remembers his losses? So like, it seems like a lot of the motivation on this is he feels like there have been several players that they've made a competitive offer and he's lost out because of the name recognition. But he also, it sounds to me like he conveniently forgets the players that probably went to Ole Miss when the money was even. Like, you know what I mean? Like he seems to focus more on the the losses than the wins. And like, yeah, I mean, he would be saying, I am quitting to go to a spot to have a better chance of making the playoff when he would be quitting on a team that is ironically making the playoff.
Yes,
I
and by
do
also
think too, real
about a
quick,
dynamic
Brian. Like
recruit.
I do buy to some level. Lane was letting this game happen because if he lost, I think he was leaving for sure. He might still leave, he might stay or whatever. I think this game had to be won by Lane Kiffin to stay. My opinion.
I
The
agree with
fact
that.
that that actually the
I don't
case is
think he could go
crazy.
back to Oxford if they would have lost.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about this earlier, Jeffrey? That Chris Lowe went on ESPN or XM on Wednesday, I guess that was, and basically said he expected Lane Kiffin to stay if they win the Egg Bowl. And I texted Chase. I was like, I think the only reason I put credence into this is like, is that not the most Lane Kiffin shit you've ever heard in your life? The caveat is, I will probably stay unless I shit the bed and lose to an inferior opponent. Then I'm gone. That sounds like the most Lane Kiffin thing I've ever heard in my life.
Well, the other reason you have to pay attention to what Chris says is, I would argue Chris is probably as plugged in with Sexton clients as anyone.
Oh yeah,
So
The problem with Chris is and I like Chris,
that's
is that
what that
he's allowing himself to be used too, though, and he doesn't care. So how
correct.
do I choose
So
between that? Makes no sense.
correct. So
like when
then
he got
you have to weigh whether or not is like, okay, is he getting used? And so, but I think to your point, what is the funniest thing about all of this is like, all right, if you're an LSU fan that has decided you want nothing more than you need the lane train in your life, you're having to root for a coach to lose the biggest game of the year so that he can be your coach. But it's like, well, do you want the guy that had the everything or nothing game and he lost it against an inferior roster as a double digit favorite? That's the guy you want running your program? Like that is kind of the whole backwards, like, this sport is dumb. Like, it's all just kind of all wrapped into one.
Is this an anomaly, Siski, or are we going to have these firings in September and there's going to be 10 schools doing this shit every year now moving forward?
Oh, I don't know. I just heard you started talking about Summerall. My signal started breaking up. I had to hop off here and
No
come
way.
back in.
Yeah.
You hate when that happens.
Is that a big Clemson Paul next to you? What the hell is that? Hold on.
that's what I was wondering. Did you take a pit stop to
Yeah,
Madison? What is that?
I'm hashtag America right now. I am in Calhoun City.
Oh, it's Calhoun City.
Going
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's right. I was about to say, that looks
Yeah,
like Calhoun City's mascot or logo.
yeah. Got
Okay.
classic cuts. Got Jimmy Carr State Farm, Alpha Insurance, State Farm right next to each other. We're rocking here.
I mean,
I
Chase,
don't have.
to your question, I think a lot of this depends on like who are the playoff teams. Like, in the end, like we have to get used to this universe where the traditional helmets, like if they're the teams that are winning and are in the playoff, and then the traditional helmets have fired their coaches, like, yeah, it feels like this is going to be the normal because those schools are just going to keep going after their coaches.
No shit. Like
I
I don't
mean,
understand where we accepted that like business is not done the same way. LSU has not made a playoff in the NIL era.
let's cut through it, Siski. I mean, is there an advantage to having those logos on your helmets?
I mean, you talking about from a recruiting standpoint?
Whatever. I don't know. Just, if two
I
jobs
mean,
are close to equal, does it help to have the little LSU on the side of the helmet? I don't know.
I think if you're buying into the fact that if you buy into the fact that rev share is going to bring it's going to be enforced and it's going to bring a higher premium on high school recruiting, it doesn't hurt. Um, but that's a theory. That's not a fact. I don't think in the era we just left it matters.
I think
Are the odds
I
high
think you
that's going
also
to happen? No, hold on real quick. Like,
Say that one
what's
more
your
time.
opinion? How likely is that to happen, that it all gets even backed up again like that?
I don't know if it'll be even back. I don't know if it'll ever get even back up. I just think it depends on if you're at a place that if you're a high school, like, I guess in Lane's case, I'm assuming I came in on the back end of a conversation. I'm assuming we're talking about Lane here. Lane doesn't recruit high school players anyway. So Does it really matter? No. If you're somebody that lives on high school recruiting and that's your plan of what you're going to do, then yeah, I think it would matter a little bit. But again,
Well,
money equalizes what advantage it used to have. It's never going to go back to what it was. If you're that answers your question, it's never going to go back
I
to that.
to Tyler's point, I do think the question though is this: does Lane not recruit high school because of Lane, or is it because, hey, more times than not, the Mississippi talent is, even though it's there, it's usually not ready to play right away. So rather than waste a bunch of money on someone that's going to ride the bench and then probably leave, you don't really focus on it that way. But if you were going to Louisiana, where you can get the best of the best in state, you could do more high school recruiting. I think like that's the question, right?
Yeah, I mean, players just don't like you don't have you don't have time anymore to develop players out of high. I mean, much unless you just plan to be there for a long time. I mean, everybody wants to be somewhere a long time, but it's not realistic. I mean, how long was Brian Kelly at LSU? 3 years.
This was year 4.
Yeah, so 3.5 years. So like, you're never going to recruit a great high school class year one anyway. So the kids that he recruited high school wise were probably second year players. Good ones. So I just think there's going to be more of an emphasis on it, but the development days are few and far between because of the portal.
I
And
guess
on top of
this would
that,
be the
Siski,
other this would
just
be
real
the other
quick.
argument.
Go ahead,
What
Jeffrey.
if LSU like this, and you have to look at it from Lane's perspective. What if in his mind it's like, okay, LSU isn't there yet, but I'll get them in line just like I did at Ole Miss. Even though we could spend 3 hours talking about all of the other people that were involved in this, from Lane's perspective, he can just say it like it's a Lane thing.
One quick little thing here. I'm assuming this is from the press conference, so we'll have Neil on shortly, I assume. It says Lane Kiffin on whether he expects to make a decision tomorrow on his future at Ole Miss. Quote, I feel like I gotta. Again, the narrative from that side is going to be Keith is forcing it to be tomorrow. That is either way. So again, we've talked about it,
Oh,
but
poor
that's
Lane. Oh, poor Lane. He's got to decide which school he wants $14 million from. Rats. Oh, go cry me a river, you big baby.
On
Mark.
the
Appreciate
recruiting
you with
piece of
the
it,
super chat. Y'all are great. Thank you. Thank you, TA8377, and then OxyFresh MSAL. Gas money for Siski. He says getting him back into Lafayette County here soon. Coming down the back roads from Starkville. Did you stay to the very end, Siski? I mean,
Yeah, we're,
like the
we're
whole
cooking.
deal.
Uh, yeah, yeah. I mean, like we didn't see the. I mean, we were literally walking down the stairs at 1:08. So yeah.
When did most of the state folks clear out?
After the last touchdown, Ole Miss touchdown,
It sounded like the
they
38-19
started.
was when they left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How do you rate Levy's job this year?
I think I think because of where they've come, I think they're much improved. Their record obviously they won one SEC game, but they're much improved. And I think they're getting and he's building it. That's exactly what we were just talking about. He is building it, trying to build it up. Getting the portal, but using high school recruiting and developing players as much as he can in today's world. I think they had a much better year. I mean, look, they're a few plays away from having a great year, right? There's probably, especially when you finish 5-7, there's probably a couple games he'd like to have back. But what they had, two overtime games that they lost, and then the Florida deal at the end of the game, and they didn't win any of them. But then they had the one against Arizona State that went their way. So I thought last year they weren't competitive. This year they're going in the right direction. And he's got a
Siski,
I
young
just
kind
I'm
of,
quarterback that's going to be really.
curious to get your thoughts though on
I was
the
gonna say, I
flexibility.
kind of like that quarterback. Do y'all?
Yeah, he's good. He's going to be a good player, especially in that system. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yep.
he's going, and then Levy's not going to have a tough time getting receivers to want to play with that kid and that system. So
Yeah.
they're gonna get better. You know,
What do you got,
He
Ribby?
took a
they play hard.
I was curious to Siski's thoughts. He took a lot of flack for retaining Hutzler, who is his guy, and through the first like 4 or 5 games of the year, it actually looked like a pretty good decision of sort of continuity. But they've really slacked defensively through the last 5 or 6 games of the year. Do you have to make a change there defensively if you're Levy?
No, I mean, I don't like, I don't, I don't ever buy into making change because fans want you to make a change. He's there every day. He's a football coach. He gets paid a lot of money to be a head football coach. I think when you pay somebody that kind of money to be a head football coach, let them be the coach of their team. He knows what's best. You hired him to do a job, let him do the job. I don't believe in outside pressure of hiring and firing assistant coaches because the people who are applying the outside pressure have no idea what goes on day to day.
Well, the other
I
part of that
guess
too is that one time they all get to reset on the assistant coach changes and all that crap. It never actually works. Like the percentage that suddenly that's going to fix everything because that wasn't the problem to begin with.
my problem is, man, defense is really very rarely is it a scheme issue. It's a dude issue. Like, are you bigger, stronger, faster? Like, I don't know. I think
Yeah,
we always love to act like a
when you don't
defensive
make
coordinator's going to come.
when you don't make egregious mistakes, you know, when you're not, I mean, if it's one thing if your guys are lined up incorrectly every snap and making and
Right,
not fitting the run every play, you know, but when they're in the right lined up correctly and they're in the cover, they're doing what they're supposed to do and they're playing
right.
sound football. It's a dude deal, and they were much. If you look at them last year compared to this year, they're improved across the board everywhere. And they're competitive and they've been competitive in every game really. I mean they had the a couple games get away from them late, but they're much improved from what they were a year ago. I think he's done a great job, and people forget. You know, they had 5 head coaches. Levy was the 5th head coach in 8 years.
Wow.
Like, I mean, like you can't continue to hit the reset button and just expect it. I think with the like, you see teams that have kind of come because of the portal. You see a lot of teams that have come out of nowhere to be really good teams, and every fan base thinks hitting the reset button is the answer, and it's not necessarily the answer all the time.
I looked this
Yeah,
up real
and
And the
quick.
odds are
Let
that he
me.
gets a more difficult schedule than he's got in the last
Yeah.
2 years are pretty slim, right? State got a pretty shit draw on this 2 year schedule thing. They will likely get a more manageable schedule next year.
Yeah, and I'll look at it. I don't know. I mean, we obviously have it out, but I'm not sure. Real quick, I was looking this up a second ago. Keywan Lacey goes for over 100 yards today, finishes the regular season 1,279 yards, 20 touchdowns. He's just extending his touchdown record at this point. You had him breaking Judkins' record of 15, and now at 20 on rushing touchdowns. That's the all-purpose record also, so he's really extending that thing out. And the 1,279 for a season. Lacey clearly with at least one game left, but he is currently third in school history for a single season in rushing yards. He is passed today. He passed Judkins from 23, Green Ellis from 2007, and McCluster from 2009. And then he is sitting behind Judkins' 2022 season, which is the school record, and K.O. Dotley, his 1,312 yards from 1949, which is in second place. So just a little bit there about Kiwan
Well,
in his day
he
from a
earned
statistical standpoint.
he earned them today. Now, he earned them today. Like it wasn't schematically just talking what we're just talking about. He earned them today. The first touchdown that he had, I like from a football coaching standpoint, he made the wrong cut and scored. Like
yeah.
he should have been inside the guard, not outside him. And I mean, he earned them today.
That's what I said.
That's just that was one of those
I thought
things.
State tackled pretty well, wrapped up, swarmed. Like they limited second chance stuff. I mean, he came into the day with over 800 yards of after contact, and State did a pretty good job of keeping him kind of right where he was first hit most of the afternoon. He got a little bit of momentum going
Well,
there late third, fourth quarter.
they had more guys at the point of attack because of what they were doing on the back end. They're like,
Hmm.
I don't know what you could see on TV, but like if Ole Miss was in 11 personnel, which they were most of the game, they had 8 guys inside the box. I mean, like they were bringing the safety was down pre-snap with the free safety was down. They're one high, and he's down at 8 yards coming downhill at the snap. I mean, that's why you saw Ole Miss kept trying to take shots over the middle with 17 and 19 because it was one on one everywhere. And I mean, they had more guys at the point of attack. I mean, they've got Ole Miss is blocking with 6 guys, and they got 8 at the party. I mean, they had more people at the point of attack, so he earned them today because there were free guys just about everywhere, and that's why you saw a lot of the pin and pull. And they did when they tried to jump into some zone. I thought that I don't know if it came from the box or if it came or Trinidad saw it, but he checked some outside zone stuff and got free when they were going to cloud and rolling too high in some spots. But he earned them today. He didn't have very many clean looks today.
Siski and Jeffrey, let's look ahead a little bit. If it's a 7-10 deal, then who knows? But let's just say that some kind of upset happens. Ole Miss ends up looking ahead to the playoff, and that say they end up in that 6 seed game. Is there an ACC contender that is scarier or less scary for Ole Miss in some hypothetical? I got people asking. I'm just kind of curious on a 10,000 feet view.
I think it's too. It's unlikely, but the only scary ACC team to me is Miami. That's it.
I think SMU could be a scary matchup.
What
I
about them,
think
Siski?
Because they're going to score and they're going to present the problems that's going to give Ole Miss defense problems. I mean, Ole Miss is going to score too now, but it's going to be it would be a high scoring game, I think.
I don't know. I'm just out on Jennings. I will say this.
Have you been watching him play like last 4 weeks?
Yeah, I don't. I've decided I don't have the Jennings gene. You know, like there's just certain quarterbacks that just aren't for you. He's one for me. But I think to Tyler's point, that's other than Miami, that's the best funded roster, right?
Yeah, they're good. I mean, I think that's who it's going to be if you just want my opinion, because I think it's as long as they win, if they win and Virginia wins, that they're playing each other. Which this Virginia deal is still bothers me about
The
how
NC State game
they
not
lost
counting.
drives me nuts.
Oh, because they played the game, but it doesn't actually count in conference
Two
standings.
two charter members of the Atlantic Coast Conference played a game that did not count in the Atlantic Coast Conference standings.
Who
Well,
NC
are
man,
the
the
two
SEC did
that
that
are
back in the 1950s. So I mean,
Right, but
just
like
same
so
same
like for
same deal.
instance, Kansas State played Arizona, I think again this year, but that series was agreed to
prior
before they were
to?
conference opponents. We're talking about two teams that are charter members of the Atlantic Coast Conference that played each other in a game that did not count.
Well,
I should know
he was
this, but
where
who are the two
Narduzzi was
favorites?
not wrong when he was basically like, "Hey, I don't care if Notre Dame beats me by 1,000," because it had no say on anything. Who gave a crap? I mean, his path was winning the ACC. He was never getting an at-large bid.
Correct.
So
Who are the
okay,
two favorites to make the title game as it currently stands? I should know that, but like, what is that
I
shaping
think
up
it's
to be?
SMU and Virginia.
SMU and
they
UVA
both
have win and get it. SMU and UVA are winning in, but UVA has to go to Tech, or are they hosting Tech? But like they've beaten Virginia Tech like twice in the last 25 years, and then SMU weirdly has to go to Cal, but
What
And
is
then
Cal's
Pitt
fired
is
Miami's
their
still in this
approach
coach.
to the
thing.
playoff?
Is who still in it?
Pitt still in this thing.
Pitt and Miami are still alive, but they need a lot of help. And I think actually
if
Duke is still alive at like whatever 6 losses.
the winner of Miami the winner of the Pitt Miami games if one of the Virginia or SMU loses.
Yeah, what Siski was saying there was Miami and Pitt play 11 a.m. on ABC on Saturday. Miami a 6.5 point favorite. So yes, either team losing would then thrust the winner of that game into the championship game. 6 p.m. on Saturday, ESPN. Virginia Tech is at Virginia. As Jeffrey mentioned, UVA a 8.5 point favorite, and then SMU and Cal 12.5 point favorite for SMU. They're on the road. They've already fired Justin Wilcox, so Cal without its permanent head coach. Siski, we'll go down the line here. Siski, we'll start with you. How likely on these two results Ole Miss needs to get to Atlanta? Texas over Texas A&M, and then Alabama losing to Auburn. Give me something on both those games.
I actually like the favorites in both of them. I think tonight's game's weird because my eyes tell me Texas A&M, but Texas A&M. If you look at who they've played, they've basically played the whole back half of the SEC, like the whole year. So this is probably the best roster they've played. Not named Notre Dame, and it's at Texas and it's a rivalry game. So I do like team to do an offense. I think both defense should. And
Siski is somewhere on Highway 7 probably at this point, so that's what we're dealing with there. We'll let him get caught up here in a minute. Brian, you and I briefly, or hold on, see, maybe. That's what we get for live podcast. It's all good.
Part of the grind.
Part of the grind. Everybody around the Alabama Auburn thing tells me that's going to get weird tomorrow. I'm just having a hard time seeing Auburn score points because Auburn. Maybe I'm wrong. I actually think tonight could very much get weird where we look into tomorrow. But if you told me one or the other happened, I like Texas over A&M before I like Auburn over Alabama tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, that's the most logical thing, right? I mean, although at the same time, I don't think Texas is very good. Like, I as much as I would like to pick Texas, I think A&M might roll them, whereas Auburn might just weird that game up. I don't know. I mean, you're right in like a common sense perspective. I don't know. If you want an answer, I think the odds of both of those happening seem pretty slim. But like the way you and Neil framed it earlier in the week, if Texas does it tonight, well, all of a sudden it's just 4 quarters of weirdness away from it happening, right? The fact that they're on 2 different days is fascinating to me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Big Ben talking there says ESPN guys saying they won't Lane Kiffin to coach playoffs because Ole Miss is less valuable content product without him. I mean, sure, but at this point, not really. Ole Miss without Lane is a compelling product at this point. It is. I'm just going to get out ahead of this. It is completely unjustifiable in any capacity for Ole Miss to get deemed to the point of losing a home playoff game over Lane Kiffin's decision one way or the other. I mean, that would be remarkably unjust, unfair, and idiotic in every way. There's just no doubt about that. It's driving me insane, and it's why Murphy has rubbed me so wrong with this entire storyline because you have one data point, or well, sorry, one piece of one data point, and you're making that matter more than everything else. It just is illogical. It doesn't. It has no basis in reality. It doesn't make any sense.
Why are
Even
Vegas
falling
printing data
6 to 7 or 7 to 8, doing anything that hurts that from that standpoint is horrific. And just defies logic for me. So that doesn't make sense. I think if Lane does leave, hypothetically, I think it's very critical for Ole Miss to get out ahead of it from a media standpoint and talk about Joe Judge's ability to be organized, being a former NFL coach. Your coordinators are still doing the same jobs, all those kind of things. I think that is a critical media push for Ole Miss, but I just can't see a world where Ole Miss does not host a home game. And look, if Lane stays, you're just kind of cooking and moving on, and any impact that Ole Miss has from a negative standpoint is internal. It's with donors, it's with fans, it's with that. It's not the outside world. You're kind of cooking at that point. Uh, and yeah, I've noticed that too, and it's just the world we're in. I mean, I saw Kiffin mulling lucrative offer from LSU. Well, number one, of course, it's lucrative. It's going to be lucrative from everywhere. I mean, it's maybe I don't guess I'm surprised, but it's the thing the most with watching fan bases, media members of other teams, even national media to some extent, that don't understand our current landscape and don't get that Ole Miss actually had more NIL than Florida last year on its football team. That Ole Miss is offering Lane Kiffin 13 and change, $14 million, whatever that is. And where somehow Lane is unjust because Keith, or Lane is harmed because Keith is demanding a decision tomorrow. Of course, Keith's demanding a decision tomorrow. He should. Um, it, I guess, the number of people that don't get where we are in the year of our Lord 2025 in college football, it shouldn't baffle me, but for some reason it baffles me. And the question, I'm not really sure with Neil. I know he was writing. I'm assuming that press conference took a minute. I don't know if it altered something he was writing. I expect to hear from him soon, but we're counting on quiet, internet. It's an open press box. There's a lot of reasons why this could be taking a minute.
Yeah, I mean, it bothers me because assuming people will adapt to the times is a little bit of a large expectations. Assuming media adapts to the times is our job, right? And the amount of media that like their head is still stuck in 2019 or 2015 is remarkable to me. But even if their preconceived notions about Ole Miss being a poorer program and all of that were true, given the current like landscape of college football and the schedule, how can you possibly think it's a good idea to have the sitting LSU head coach Ole Miss through the playoff? Like, this is not the NFL. He's going to recruit your roster for 4 weeks. So people tell on themselves all the time. And so these people that are like, Ole Miss should just let Lane Kiffin coach to the playoff, that's a non-starter. That's insane to me. But I don't know. I feel like we're talking in circles in some points of trying to make people understand the landscape we're in. It's the same people that were reporting LSU is committing $25 million a year of NAL to the roster. Cool. What does that actually mean? Because in 2022, that would have been a big ass news story because it's a big slush fund where you can just pay these kids. They don't have to do anything. Now with rev share and, NIL having to be actually like looked at and passed, that doesn't matter anymore. But good luck telling people whose brains are stuck 2 years behind. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Yeah, you're on.
How can you make people's brains catch up? What does 25 million in NIL mean now? Cool.
Nothing.
How are you going to launder that is really the answer.
Where you at, Cisco? Getting close?
I hit that Lafayette County line, sir.
You're right there. I mean, almost home.
Yeah.
How you spending the rest of
I
your
was waiting
weekend?
until I saw that. Just hanging out, man. Just seeing all the craziness unfold.
You were saying before I let you go, you were moving over to tomorrow's game with Alabama and Auburn. What was that take on that?
Yeah, I think that Alabama struggles to run the football. They struggle on the edges protecting the quarterback. That's where they've been bogged down, is forcing Ty Simpson to win the game for them, right? And Auburn is one of the best at stopping the run, and they have great edge pass rushers. So I think Alabama probably needs to get to 24 to be comfortable. 21, 24 points. Weird things happen in that stadium per sources. So I think it'll be a good game. I think Kane's probably got an advantage a little bit, understanding the offense, protections, and things like that, because he's seen it every day for years. So, and Alabama's defense has been playing really well. So I think Alabama needs to play well on defense, and they really need to try to find a way to help Ty Simpson out, and not just put the whole game on him, and try to find some way to get a running game going.
Is that doable?
I mean, yeah, it's always doable. They got to execute, though.
Auburn wins
Okay.
that game if it's
Can you?
fairly
think
low
it's
scoring, right?
Yeah, I think Alabama probably needs to get to 24, 21, 24.
Okay. Georgia Tech. Rippy, where are we at here? Is it Georgia by 7 at the break?
13-3, but I would like to take this moment to
Uh,
point out we're doing a live show and 2 of the 4 people are driving a motor vehicle while we're doing it. So we're really pushing the bounds of safety, but I applaud both of your efforts. But yes, it is 13-3 Georgia at halftime.
that was a look from somebody Cisco that had a Tech minus some plus some points in the first half right there. That's what I
I did.
recognize that look.
Had them plus 7 first half.
You got anything on tonight?
A&M minus
They
2.
only had like 30 yards of offense.
Tech.
Yeah, their 3 points came off a pick from Stockton where I don't even think they got a first down.
You were heavy on the Rebs today, weren't you, Jeffrey?
Oh boy, was I!
It closed
I'd
at
like to.
seven
I'd
and
like.
a half. It was 2.5 in the second half, I think.
I'd like to shout out.
I had
Siski, go ahead.
I'd like to shout out Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals money line last night. Appreciate you, big dog. Plus 361.
Oh, that's a win. Take care of things.
That's a dub. That's a derp. It limited some damage.
Oh, so you're saying it wasn't going well before that?
yes,
No.
yesterday was bad.
All 3 underdogs won outright.
Did they really?
Yep.
Yep.
Good times.
Lane, seeing some press conference clips here as we move forward. He says he's going to call Pete Carroll and Nick Saban for advice tonight regarding his thing. We mentioned that earlier in the deal. Talks about Monty a little bit here. The one thing that I hate about this is just simply waiting on some minute tomorrow for whatever this looks like. I mean, are you anybody got an opinion on how this comes out? I mean, is this another? If you leave Siski, is this like another school doing it? I mean, are we putting any credence into some sort of production? Like, what the hell are we waiting on tomorrow?
No clue. No clue. I'm glad I didn't have to do a watch along show today. No idea.
Yeah,
You got. Common sense. He knows what he's doing. I just don't know. I don't. There's no way he doesn't know what he's doing. I would find that hard to believe that at 4:30 in the afternoon on Saturday, and he's got to have a decision about the rest of his life, and he's had 6 weeks to think about it. I find it hard to believe that he doesn't know what he's going to do, whatever
I
that
know I've
is.
said this 45 times, but Siski, while you're on here as a coach, if you're 11-1, how do you say I've quit a playoff team and then go to your next job and go to your next press conference and say, you idiots just likely made me the highest paid coach in college football. I've made the playoffs once, but I quit before I ever coached a game. Like, how do you sell that? And how do you, like, would that be a well-received move within like coaches and athletes and whatnot? That seems to me to be the antithesis of competition, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, I'm not defending Lane here, but it's not. What choice does he have if he wants to take another job? I mean, then it's what has to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's this is a product of the calendar or whatever, but you know, I get it. But the only if he's interested in taking another job, it's what has to happen. You know what I mean? I think it's very depends on what side of the fence you're on, right? It's just one of those things where if you're an Ole Miss fan or you're coming from Ole Miss standpoint, the only acceptable answer is to stay. Well, if he wants to go, then that's what he decides he wants to do. Then it is what it is.
And on the
Because
I
whole,
again,
guess
you're
the thing.
right. There is some situation there. It's that the way he's handled it is just not allowed for that to
I
be sympathetic in any capacity. Like, yeah,
agree. Agree.
they're,
No,
they're
no, no argument at all.
I mean, those are
I
just
guess this is
not.
my
Yeah,
No
yeah,
question.
yeah.
argument.
I think Lane's attitude this week and the last 2 weeks has really soured Ole Miss fans. But I guess the question is like how much of the Lane of it all matters today? Like, because I don't get the sense that I got the sense most of the frustration and whatnot was yes, obviously you want him to stay, but it was a lot of people that were really worried that this situation was going to cost them the state game and therefore cost them the playoff. It felt like once the game happened and they realized the team was fine, there was a little bit more calmness.
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple things have happened this week, and you know, good decision by all involved, demanding, requesting for Lane to stay the hell off Twitter for the week. It chilled everything out. You had it took a lot of the troll down stuff that he just would have said, even with intent or not intent at that point. I think that made sense. There's so many different things that are involved with that. Looks like Neil will be with us in a second. I've added him in here to the stream. He's just left a chair in the corner right now though, as he's out of the video at the moment. But there's that. For any state content, I see he has posted Landon Tucker, who does our state stuff. He is he is there. That's up at MPW Digital right now. I'm reading to the chat a little bit as we're getting going. Let's see. Landon said, yeah, a lot of Florida and LSU both sent beat writers. Apparently, there were both LSU and Florida beat writers at the Ole Miss State game today.
Boy, I bet the Florida guys are like, shit, why did we come here?
That's a long trip too, to just come and do nothing where it breaks in the middle of the game that you're moving on as people have been trying to tell you for a while now. I mean, there's no.
I guess my other question was, were they being fed incorrect information or were they just like refusing to believe it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, was this really like Gator arrogance or is this like getting played?
I
I
don't
think
know that
none
they
of
had
them
any
had
sourcing at
sources.
all. I mean, it
They,
was a ton of freaking letting some message board people guide them, and then I mean they came out on the Florida on one of the message boards came out and admitted that they were just taking our content and then spinning it toward Florida at that point.
I totally agree. I think they had zero sources at all. They looked at Chase, Neil, Siski, and all of you of all people, and like y'all know nothing. Summerall's not involved. Like no
Yeah.
one's here to mention him. Like, come on, man.
Michelle, thank you for the Venmo. If you got a chat, throw it in, and we happen to answer your question. I would appreciate that. So appreciate you. Neil, you've had a long weekend. You're in Starkville currently, as we are finishing up here 38-19 Ole Miss over Mississippi State. MPW Digital Postgame Show presented by Realtree. I guess we'll start at the end and work our way back. What was the press conference like?
Well, can you hear me first?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, yeah.
Well, it was packed in that little tiny room. It's the first thing that comes to mind. I went from being very cold to very hot in a short period of time. Lane was he was thoughtful. At one point, he got almost emotional. Had to kind of catch himself when he talked about how he really missed his dad this past week. Wished that he had his dad here to make a decision. He acknowledged that he has a decision to make. He was asked by Mark Schleybaugh, I believe. Mark asked him, do you feel like you are going to make a decision tomorrow? And he said, I feel like I gotta. Feel like I gotta was his exact answer. I asked him about what is it about this decision that makes it so difficult? What is the most difficult part? And he, he talked about how one of the things in that field is because you make so much money, people just don't have much empathy for how difficult the decision can be, and that when you work in a different field, you get to go take a weekend and look at a place and look at schools and look at stuff and then make a decision, and nobody pays any scrutiny. There's no scrutiny on it, and he's right. Um, he he was asked about. He talked a lot about that. I think he really wanted to win today. He did not want there to be that narrative about distraction. And in fairness to him, this is 5 games in a row that they've played pretty well and won. Um, I asked him about 50 wins. If someone had told him 5 years ago that you'd win 50 games in 5 years, would you have believed it? And what would it have taken? And he said he would have signed up for it right away, basically, that it would have meant a lot of big wins and a lot of consistency and a lot of buy-in to his program. And that was mostly it. There was the weird confrontation a little bit that was in there that I'm sure you guys may have talked about, that was kind of involved. But for the most part, it was like almost 20 minutes. It's up on the site, by the way. It's up at MPW. It's also up at Rebels 24/7. You can go watch it for yourself. But I thought it was pretty interesting. He got a little emotional, kind of talking about going to see Knox's game tonight and how that game meant a lot to him, obviously, and that some people will parse that. I didn't. I get it totally as a dad. I watched my son play in a North Half state championship a couple of years ago. Tyler has too. There's when you watch that, there's a level of emotion that is difficult to describe. It was. I've said this to people. My most exciting sports moment of my life was watching Carson win the state quarterfinal, and my most devastating, sad sports moment of my life was watching Carson lose a state semifinal. So I completely got where Lane was coming from. He continues to say he doesn't know what his decision will be, that he's got to pray about it. I'll take him at his word. It's difficult for me to completely believe that we're at this point and he hasn't made a decision. I really believe that he has made a decision, and now he's got the agonizing process of deciding, can he actually pull the trigger on that decision.
Was the altercation with him and Ben, did it carry over into the Bradshaw press conference too?
Trey Wallace with Outkick was here. He asked him what the last couple of weeks have been like, and Lane went into the comment about a housewife and a hoe. I'm not a ludicrous person. I don't know ludicrous. I'm not that hip. I'm really not like. I don't listen to a lot of music, and so I wasn't familiar with the lyrics. Lane was not pleased with being called a hoe, and Ben tried to say that's not what I said, and I said this, and that didn't make it any better at all. In fact, I think it escalated it for a moment, and everyone brought it back on track. I actually asked the question that brought it back on track by asking about, what was there one part of this decision that was the most difficult?
Hold on, Ben didn't diffuse the situation?
Well, how do you say that's not what I said? You either said the word hoe or you didn't. That seems pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, Brian. It was I was sitting right next to Ben and right behind Trey Wallace, and it was an incredibly uncomfortable 30 seconds or so for me.
Was it really?
Yeah,
I can only imagine. Neil, the only other thing I had, just a quick question. Great question you asked about what makes it a difficult decision. Did Lane actually say anything about what made it a difficult decision? I know you said what he said, but it seems like he dodged it.
I don't even think he was meaning to dodge it, but no, he didn't say. And he was, he was asked if he. Oh, I know a question. He was asked if thought he would be able to coach if there any part of him that thought he'd be able to coach the playoffs if he took another job, and he said that's not my call. He did lobby for his team. He said his team deserved a home game in the playoffs. He had a lot of praise for his team. It was just like they've all been these last few weeks. They get more awkward sort of by the week. This one wasn't as awkward at all as a couple. I mean, he was far more on his game and on message today, and I felt he was very genuine today. Again, I think he's having to choose between two things that he really wants to do.
Yeah. Big picture, Neil, and you and I will do a lot of this over the course of the next week, assuming what the coach stuff is. You lobbied for Lane 2017, hired him in 19, and you've been around for a long time now. 11-1. Do you think it was doable here at different points? I mean, it's 50.
No,
It's 50 wins in 5 years. I mean, I feel like in some ways we get off and we lose the fact of what just happened in front of our face and what that means.
no, I did not think it was doable. I'll freely say that I did not. I've covered Ole Miss for a long time. I did not think an 11-1 season, provided that Ole Miss stayed in the Southeastern Conference, was doable. It's remarkable. 50 wins in 5 years is an incredible accomplishment that only 6 other programs in the country have achieved. And when you go down the list of who those 6 programs are, it's Georgia and Ohio State and Michigan. And I don't have these in order. It's Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon. I think Notre Dame, and who am I leaving out? I don't know. Somebody with
Ohio State's got to be in there.
Yeah, Ohio State's in there for sure. Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, Alabama, Georgia, Notre Dame, and Ole Miss.
That's 6. Yeah,
that's it. So there's like 6, 7 teams that have done that, and it's elite. It's blue bloods. It's remarkable. No matter how this ends, and I certainly have an opinion on how this is likely to end. It is a remarkable accomplishment that will be incredibly difficult to replicate at Ole Miss or anywhere else for that matter. Winning at that level, with that degree of consistency for a half decade is laudatory. It's amazing. I'm so cold in here.
seriously.
I've gone from cold to hot, and now back to cold. It's open air in here, and it is cold. Still on my
How was
jacket.
You're fine. He's putting his Sticksky. You hadn't switched over to Coors Banquet yet. You still sticking with the?
It's a Coors product.
Okay, it is. You're right. How was the media environment today, Neil? I mean, just in general. Did you get some Muscatine Ripple? Did you get some cheese? Did you get Did you talk to anybody interesting? How was the day?
Okay, I don't want to. Mississippi State people are always incredibly nice.
They are.
They are. They had phoned it in today from a media standpoint. They served some chicken and mashed potatoes and green beans, and the chicken ran out very fast. And so your boy had just a little bit of mashed potatoes and some green beans. That was my meal for the day. They did do the ice cream thing. I don't do ice cream hardly ever, and I sure don't do it on days when it's 30-something degrees outside and I'm freezing in the press box. I don't understand the concept of that, but I watched people eat it, and I just looked at them like, y'all are all insane. But there was no coffee in the press box.
Stop it. Is this guy got a death wish?
Oh, that wasn't good.
We might have finally had a
You got-
traffic violation after 2 hours.
No, I mean, there's a guy on a freaking
We
scooter
good?
in front of me, and it's like he's just trying to get rear-ended.
It scared the hell out
he
of
like
me.
keeps
I
like.
didn't know what was going on.
I was waiting for a crash and
Well,
hoping I
and
didn't hear
I
one
also
right there. I was
we
like,
should also acknowledge we have the world's worst passenger sitting to my right.
And my husband is on a call.
okay, all right.
There are other factors at play right now.
Oh God! All right. Estimate
I don't remember
crowds.
what I was saying.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fine.
We were talking about ice
a
cream. Ice cream in 37 degrees.
There was no coffee in the press box. It was just they phoned it in. They were done with this season. They were ready for it to end. And I can't say I blame them. I mean, they've lost 5 out of 6 Egg Bowls, and you look at where the two programs are today, and one is just leaps and bounds ahead of the other. And all the attention today was on Ole Miss and on Lane, and none of it really was on Mississippi State. The young quarterback's a really nice player. I mean, if he develops as a passer and decision maker, they've got something there. He made some serious plays with his feet, man. But I don't know. What was the crowd? The crowd was, they had a big crowd. A lot of state people showed up, and they stayed until, midway through the fourth quarter. They started getting out, and Ole Miss had a huge contingent. Don't ask me how many. I don't know. I don't cover enough games at this guy. I would guess 10 to 15,000 in that range. I don't know where. That's a pretty broad range, but in that ballpark, I'd guess. It was certainly noticeable, and in the fourth quarter, when the game was over and Ole Miss was putting it away, they were really loud, and it was, it was the biggest Ole Miss crowd in Starkville I've ever seen. I'll say that.
What kind of chances you giving on Texas and Alabama losses or wins or whatever the next 2 days?
Given how weird this has been the last few weeks, almost 100%. I mean,
Okay.
I think, I think the Horns win, and then Auburn wins, and so we have to do this
Chaos reigns.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of like, if chaos can happen at this point, I sort of expect it. So yeah, I mean,
has there ever been an interim coach in the SEC championship game? That feels unlikely. I mean, just saying, can't recall that.
I don't recall one. Maybe there had. I don't know. It would just be. Again, I feel like I'm a broken record here. There is a part of me that really wonders, when it comes time to actually do it. This team that he clearly likes, this team that responds to him for all the talk, and we did it too about how there were distractions and this was a dangerous spot. They took care of business. They won the game. They won 11 of them. They have one loss. It's at Georgia in a game that they led by 2 scores. Does he really have it in him to walk away? I don't think he's going to get, Chase, my opinion. Let's say Texas wins tonight. I don't think he's going to get all day to wait out the Iron Bowl. I don't. The vibe I get is that, and I thought his quote with, "I feel like I gotta," answered that. I mean, I think, Chris Burrows, AP asked him what time he thought he'd make that decision tomorrow, and he said, "I don't know." And I believed him. But there was a sense from talking to some national people that were here today, and there were a lot of them, that the decision's coming fairly early tomorrow. Don't hold me to that. I don't know that. I've not talked to anybody who's told me that. But national people who have been pretty connected on this felt like it was coming pretty early tomorrow.
Robert, thank you for the Venmo chat post game. Appreciate you. Got a comment? Throw it in Venmo all caps. We will get to that. People asking Neil about your eye. Do you want to fill them in, or where do you want to sit on that?
Oh yeah, I got hit with a bag on the plane in Memphis. It was the first part of my Memphis airport nightmare, and so it's kind of bothering me. And then I've got to go back to the Memphis airport at some point this weekend to get my truck because it was blocked in. I had to Uber home to Oxford yesterday. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Who hit you with a bag?
An old man. He didn't mean to.
Did you beat him up?
I did not.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what the other guy looks like.
Yeah. What does the bag look like?
Had he asked me in that moment, what's Lane Kiffin going to do, I would have beaten him up. Yes.
That's fair.
But he didn't.
Did you externally scream when you got to the garage and your truck was blocked in?
Yes, I externally screamed. I internally screamed, and then I just let it out. I screamed. And the guy that has me blocked in is an Ole Miss person. He's North Carolina plates. It's a big ass white truck, and he's got it pulled up way too far. And I can't, for me to get out, I've got to have enough torque to do it. And there's a Range Rover on the side that I don't want to hit it either. So I just said, after I tried for like 45 minutes, I realized this is not going to happen. And my family was texting me, just get an Uber and come home. Get an Uber and come home. And so I did. I got an Uber.
Were you in the garage, the big garage?
Yeah, floor number 7 of the big garage. And
so what happens if you're still locked in on Sunday, though?
Well, then I'll still be blocked in on Sunday.
Okay.
Wait, so I have a PhD in the general public being insufferable. You went to the Memphis airport and somebody parked next to you to a point that you cannot leave your parking spot.
Parked behind me to a place where I can't get out. He's out in the middle of the thing of the the alley between. It's not a two-way aisle, and he's parked in such a way that it was impossible for me to.
Is that not distressing to all of us that some dude showed up for his flight, parked behind someone to where they can't leave, and thought, that's good, and went through to the airport, got on their flight, and we're like, yeah, that guy will be fine. Like, those people drive and live and vote amongst us. I mean, that is remarkable to me. You had to contact this guy to be like, hey, I got to leave.
There was no way to contact him, so I went down and I asked security what they could do, and bless her heart, she said, well, we could put out a call on the on the thing, and I said, he's gone, he's not here. It's the Memphis airport, 3 o'clock on Thanksgiving Day, which was a ghost town. Security came up and looked at it, and they're like, we're not allowed to move a car or tow a car. And I was like, well, screw it, I give up. This is my this is just my day. And then the security guard said, the security guard said, what do you think Lane Kiffin's going to do? And I screamed.
Yeah.
I did. He didn't actually. I was waiting
doing
for
that
it
to someone. That is remarkable to me. Sorry that happened.
Yes.
We haven't really talked about it, and we've been on for a while. Brian and I did in game. What you think of Chambliss today before we get out of here?
He was a little erratic at times, but he made plays. I thought he was really amped up. Missed on some deep balls where this thing could have been a blowout early, and but he missed. I mean, they took some deep shots. State was really trying to take away Kewan Lacey as much as they possibly could, and because State had to, Tyler would know this better than me. State had to really put an extra hat in the box, otherwise he was going to run for 400 yards. So they did that, and that creates open shots down the field. And Ole Miss took them, and they hit a few, but there were some wide open ones. This thing could have been a blowout. But I mean, give credit to Mississippi State. I mean, that was, if they were going to win the game, that was the only way they were going to win it. So they took that shot.
Ole Miss is definitely in the playoffs. That is a certainty now. We'll wait to see what all
it
checks out.
It'd be a hell of a story if they're not. That's for sure.
Well, that's a good point. You make a good point.
It's in there. There'll be a game in Oxford in 3 weeks.
Siski is just not even entertaining the noise. He's done.
I refuse to.
I'm with Tyler. They're not dropping them. They're going to play a game in Oxford unless, if you tell me there's no game in Oxford, I'll tell you that chaos happened and Ole Miss ended up with a route straight to the quarters. They're going to play a game.
There's more probability of that than not hosting.
There's no doubt about it. Absolutely.
We got a field goal attempt. It is good. Georgia Tech cutting Georgia to 13-6 with 4:33 to go in the third quarter. Yeah, that would have been a cash on that. So anyway, I guess we'll get out of here. I've got to ask Neil. Any new? You were around a bunch of national reporters. You've been, I'm sure, had your phone on you all day. Anything else on at least the hypothetical need for John Summerall as we get off this thing?
Yeah, people got mad at me, and they're doing the timing thing and the decision on Sunday. I'm just going to tell you that 3 different national reporters are pretty adamant that a deal between John Summerall and Florida is way down the road, that he told Auburn no, and that deal is way down the road, and that it would really probably be too late for Ole Miss. Now, is it possible that they're wrong? Sure. But I'm repeating what they said. I've not spoken to John. I was pretty busy on the Lane portion of this today, but those are pretty dialed in reporters who, we're pretty much on this. And then they're obviously, I know they were in contact with other pretty dialed in reporters. Look, I think Florida tossed it in on Lane Kiffin a lot earlier than the Florida media figured it out. God bless them. You people, morons, all of you. Just, Like, it's the damnedest thing when people call you and they ask you, what do you think? What do you know? And you literally tell them what you know because they're media. And I'm trying to be nice.
You shouldn't.
And then they just basically not only ignore you, but insult you. And then when it happens, they're like, well, you kind of told me. I'm like, no, I totally told you, you moron. Yeah. So look, I'm not sitting here and telling you that John Sumrall is the next coach at Florida, but I've done this long enough not to ignore the kind of people who are telling me that that's where he's going and that a deal's pretty much done and that a deal's going to be announced on Sunday.
Okay. So yeah, that's where it's at.
And then the only other thing that I heard today was that a lot of repair had been done between Arkansas and Alex Golish, that that movement could happen on that as early as today, and that it was a similar thing where he wanted to coach his team on Saturday and then inform them. So, it's the whole, you get this narrative that's out there that may have a wrinkle of truth to it, right? That these people are putting it off to see what happens. And again, I'm not saying that that's completely wrong, but it is more complicated than that. These negotiations don't just happen in a quick little phone call. I think it's safe to say that Alex Golish is way down the road with Arkansas, and that at a minimum, John Sumrall is way down the road with Florida. Yeah. John Sumrall has absolutely told people in that world, in the coaching world, that he didn't think the timing with Ole Miss was going to work out. I mean, I know that, and people throw stuff at you basically when you say it. I mean, hit me in the other eye, I guess. But I'm not making it up. I mean, that's, I have no incentive to make that up. I mean, if there's a frustrating part from a media standpoint in all this, is it's the two things people go, you guys want Lane to leave. No, I absolutely do not. Chase can vouch for the following. We've made a lot of money off Lane Kiffin in the last 6 years. Lane Kiffin's been good to me. I mean, he's been good to me. I would love for him to stay. The winning is easier to cover than the losing, and it's a hell of a lot easier to sell subscriptions and to get YouTube views and podcast listens when Ole Miss is winning. But it's our job to report what we actually hear. And then the other one is, that you're basically just making stuff up. No. Because if I was going to make something up, I'd make something up a lot sexier than John Sumrall's way down the road with Florida.
And there we are. More oxygen coming on the Kiffin thing, but at the moment, Ole Miss wrapping it up in the regular season, 11-1, first time in school history. Again, Kewan Lacey now the third best rushing season in school history, and it's moving on as at least one more game, likely in Oxford for the playoffs. Those are December 19th and 20th. Somebody sent a Venmo asking about tickets and things for that. They are not going to release any of that until the time comes. But if you're a season ticket holder, I'm pretty sure you do have your ability there to whatever level to get in and preferential treatment on that if it is a home game for that. But again, Ole Miss is not going to say a word out loud until it's actually official and the time comes. So again, Ole Miss gets into the SEC championship game with a win by Texas tonight over Texas A&M and a win tomorrow over Alabama. So we will follow that and then all the Kiffin news as well. Appreciate all of you guys all day long. We've been online since about 10:50 this morning, something like that, as we've been watching the game, the watch party, and now the post-game show. Also, Brian, hell of a trooper with me today. Siski and Jeffrey driving. Siski kept driving all the way back through Calhoun City and whatever that other name of that place was as he was headed back and coming back from the game. And then Neil, he's barely been home in quite a few days. It's been a hell of a planes, trains, and automobiles a little bit here over the last few days as we wrap this thing up. Thanks for Tyler Jordan, Bill Jordan, Realtree as always. Love those guys. Appreciate their trust in us. Rebels247.com. I have a decent assumption that Neil and I will be back with you at some point prior to Monday morning, but we'll take that as we go and maybe not, or at least one of us or something. But we can't answer that question right now. That's where we are. So for these guys, thank you very much. We'll talk to you very soon. That wraps it. MPW Digital Postgame show presented by Realtree. Take care.